What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So, today I'm going to do my NBA playoff predictions. I'm going to do that today. And tomorrow I'm hoping to have a guest do like a contender and a pretender in each conference. So, here we go. So, first we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw, which was last night. So, the main event was Sami Zayn against Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship. It was a phenomenal match. It was very cool seeing after the Jey Uso match, you see Sami Zayn go through the crowd. You know, obviously in his home country of Canada, it was the Raw was in Montreal. He was mobbed, and then you saw him go through the crowd. The cam work since they let go of Kevin Dunn has been absolutely amazing. So cool, I love it. Incredible entrance, one of the greatest entrances I've ever seen on at least on Monday Night Raw. Great match. Sami Zayn retained the Intercontinental Championship, and then after, he shows some sportsmanship. You know, he helps up Chad Gable. And they kind of helps him up, shake his hand, and then Gable raised his hand. And then as Sami Zayn was celebrating with his family, he was hugging his wife. Gable rips him from his own wife and hits him with a slam, with a body slam, which is his finishing move, and then absolutely attacks Sami Zayn. So Gable turns heel. That feud is about to heat up. I'm very excited. I expect those two to fight for the Intercontinental title at Backlash, which is in about a month, maybe a little under or less. That was the main event. A little sadness opening up the show. Rhea Ripley opened the show after she was attacked by Liv Morgan backstage last week. Of course, Liv Morgan, you know, was out for 8 months after an injury she suffered against Rhea Ripley. And then Rhea came out in the cast and said that she had to relinquish the WWE Women's World Championship. Very, very sad. She's had an incredible run for over a year. It's a shame she had to relinquish it because of an injury. And she cut a little promo like, you know, she's coming back for blood. It's like, oh, if I see Liv Morgan, you're going to put me in Montreal jail to stop me from getting to her. Then Liv came out. You know, security was kind of, you know, in between her and Rhea. And then Rhea headbutted the security guard. And then, you know, she hugged Judgment Day backstage, and you know, Damien was talking to her. That was it. Sheamus returned. He kind of teased us because like there was rumors he was coming up with his old theme song, which is of course iconic. At first he came out with his theme song he has most recently. So we were thinking, oh, it's like all right, you know, the theme song's still pretty good. Sheamus is Sheamus, and then all of a sudden you hear it's a shame of fame. Lobster head. It was, he teased us, phenomenal, and then he beat Ivar. Very happy he's back. Sheamus is very underrated, one of the all-time greats. He is back. And then Triple H, Adam Pearce came out, and Triple H announced he brought out Awesome Truth and gave him new Raw Tag Team titles. They look absolutely amazing. The Tag Team Championships the last 14 days, they looked awful. Like for a while you had like the tan ones. And then obviously when he's put them to Raw and SmackDown, they were the same design, but you know, red and blue. They look stupid. These look so much better. You know, the whole thing is like these champions are supposed to be gold, and you know the tag team titles haven't been gold in 14 years. Like I don't understand. So and then R-Truth was a little confused. He thought Triple H was Tommaso Ciampa. Then Triple H was like, I'm just leaving. And Pierce was like, you made Triple H leave the ring. He was like, Triple H ain't out here. It was very, very funny. And then you had a number 1 contenders match for the Raw Tag Team Championship between DIY, the Creepers, and New Day, and DIY wins. It will be DIY against Awesome Truth. That'll be a great match. You had Andrade defeated Dominic Mysterio. After the match, JD McDonough and Judgment Day attacked Andrade, but then Ricochet came to save the day. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven defeated Katana Chance and Caden Carter in a tag match. And then Jey Uso defeated Finn Balor in a match. Before that, Cody Rhodes cut a promo. He brought out Jey Uso. And then Jey Uso defeated Finn Balor in a match. And then, you know, because Jey Uso, I think he's going to fight Priest. And then they had a little stare down. And then Judgment Day attacked Jey Uso. But then Uso was able to fight them off. And he escaped through the crowd. That was Monday Night Raw, by the way. I believe next week on Raw, a new women's champion is going to be crowned. They're going to have some tournament or something, so very excited to see where that goes. By the way, I'm a little annoyed that Liv Morgan injured her. I don't get the WWE's obsession with Liv Morgan. I don't get it. She's not horrible, but she's so, just, to me, mediocre. There's nothing that stands out about her. Why they always feel need to push her. They always have. I don't really get it. It makes no sense to me. Hope they'll put the title on her. I don't understand. I guess you could. I mean, Rhea and Liv obviously going to have a match when she comes back. I don't know how long she's going to be out. But she's going to be out for like a month. Or like maybe you have her fight somebody at Backlash. You have her win. Then Rhea comes out. And that sets up, you know, Rhea and Liv. And then maybe Rhea wins it back maybe. Which I think will be the plan. Depends on what they do from here. But you will see what happens. There's some coach news. The Buffalo Sabres fired Don Granato after 4 seasons. Of course, the amateur regular season is coming to an end very, very shortly. But Buffalo has let go of Don Granato after 4 seasons. The Sabres have not been to the playoffs since 2011. They've had a bunch of different coaches. You know, you had Lindy Ruff at the end, then you had Phil Housley. Now you had Don Granato. Look, you know, they had a lot of young pieces that look like this. Maybe it was the year they could sneak into the playoffs, and I think they're like the 3rd or 4th worst team in the Eastern Conference. Just not cutting it. No good. Absolutely not. No, and he is gone after 4 years in Buffalo. The Brooklyn Nets have found their next coach. They are hiring Kings assistant Jordi Fernandez. So, apparently also in the search was Suns assistant head coach Kevin Young and Mike Budenholzer. Yes, the guy who had a lot of success in Atlanta. He was in Milwaukee, and he won a championship in 2021 with Milwaukee. He was fired after losing the first round to Miami last year. So, look, I don't know anything about Jordi Fernandez. You know, he's been with the Kings for a couple of years. He's worked under a good head coach in Mike Brown. He's got to work with a couple of good young players. But you got Mike Budenholzer sitting right there, and you have Jordi Fernandez, really? I don't know. By the way, why is Shellmark still employed? The dude is awful. He's so bad. He's a terrible GM. He is pitiful. He has done nothing. But Jordi Fernandez is the coach. To be fair, I don't think any coach could save this squad. This team is terrible. They are screwed. They won 32 games this year. I don't expect them to be much better next year. I mean, their best player is Mikhail Brodeur, who's a very good player, but he should be like your 3rd option, your 3rd best player, not your best player and your number 1 option. He's a guy. If he's your top guy, he'll average 24 points every year, every game. But your team's not going to win more than 35 games. You put him as a 2 or a 3 next to a star or 2. He might now average like 17, 18 points a game, but your team is going to win at least 50 games. You'll be a multiplayer basketball team. So I don't really know if anybody could help that squad. Maybe they wanted a younger coach. Maybe they offered the Budenholzer. He was like, I ain't touching that dumpster fire. Maybe they want a younger coach because they are kind of in, like, gas Arabia? I don't know what you call them. They're just in, we're awful and have no future mode, whatever you want to call that. But Jordi Fernandez is the next coach of the Brooklyn Nets. So the Detroit Pistons are keeping Troy Weaver as their GM, but are going to look to hire a president of basketball operations over him. Supposedly Monty stayed for now. I mean, they gave him a 6-year deal. You can't really fire him. Especially considering they gave him $80 million. That's just crazy. Considering, you give him the guy, what, $15, $16, $17 million a year? He's under contract till, what, 2029 or something? 2028? Yeah, it's kind of hard to fire after 1 year. But apparently, he needs to show the ability to develop his team. So, I mean, they went 14. So, 14 wins. The Detroit Lions won as many games as the Pistons, if you count their 2 playoff wins. They had as many wins as the Pistons, including the playoffs. The Lions played 20 games. Yeah, they went 12-5 in the end of the regular season, and that was like 2-1 in the playoffs. So they played 20 games. They won 14 of them. Of course, they lost in the NFC Championship. The Pistons played 82 games, and they won 14 of them. Lost 68 of them. 14-68. Yikes. I don't really think Weaver's done a great job. I mean, he took Cade first overall. He's turned into a very good player. He took Ivy 5th overall a couple of years ago. He hasn't shown much, but he's still young. Monty doesn't seem to like him for some reason. Doesn't seem to play. In fact, he needs someone to tell him, you might want to play, your young guard who you drafted top 5 literally a year ago is a concern on Monty. He's very overrated head coach. I like Duran. He was the 10th pick a couple of years ago. That same draft they got Ivy. I like Cam. I think he's pretty good. They just took out Thomas 5th overall this year. I think he's got some potential to be pretty good. The issue with Alsar is, look, he's a phenomenal defender. He does a lot of good things, but he doesn't have a jump shot, and you don't have a stretch 4 to put next to him to kind of hide that. So I don't know how good of a fit that is. The Pistons are built very, very, very poorly to me. So you have 2 young guards, and Kate Cunningham, who's a great player, and Jaden Ivey, who has got some potential, but the boneheaded coach won't play him, so he can't really showcase his talents. You know, a forward in Alsar Thompson who can't shoot, and you don't have a stretch 4 to kind of protect against that. Like you're running like double big with like Marvin Bagley and Duran, and you have all these centers. You have James Wiseman, who was a guy who kind of got into a tough situation. You know, the guy was really raw and needed to play. Didn't get a chance to do that in Golden State. Had injuries. Gets right to Detroit. Still hasn't been able to play a whole lot. You know, Derwin's, I think, has been very good. Bagley's he's a complete boss. The fact that he was taking over ahead of Luka Doncic a few years ago was obscene. And, like, Isaiah Stewart's just okay. So the roster is made up of 2 good young guards and Caden Ivey. 1 who the coach won't play for whatever reason. A small forward who can't shoot. And a bunch of centers. Only 1 is really good. Duran, I think, is very good. He's young, got a lot of potential. Wiseman, he legitimately needs to get, like, traded to the Charlotte Hornets and just like, all right, we're completely rebuilding. You know, we don't care what happens at this point. We're better off getting a high pick. Play him for 30 minutes. Give him a year to play him for 30 minutes as your starting center. If he shows you something, great. If not, move on. If not, all right, he's a complete boss, move on. Stewart's a fine backup, but not nothing more than that. And Bagley is that best serviceable backup. Their team is just built so poorly. They're absolutely atrocious. Like, Detroit Pistons fans did not have a lot of expectations going into this season. They really didn't. And the team you knew was going to be horrible. They're just like, just don't be the absolute worst team the league's ever seen, basically. All right, the year before you won what? 17 games, 18 games? Be a little better than that. Shoot for 30 wins, okay? You gotta win, what, 37, 38 games to get into the play-in? All right, I don't expect you to do that. If you do that, wonderful. But let's try and win 30 games. At least 20, holy moly. And they won 14. That's a problem. Probably if Monty wasn't due, like, probably $65 million through 2000, through the frickin', like, 28-29 season, I don't think he'd have a job. He might have been fired months ago, honestly. He's been awful. That team is horrible awful. Horrible awful. They are atrocious. Not enough words to describe how bad that team is. So Jack Leiter is making his MLB debut Thursday for the Texas Rangers. He was second overall pick in 2021. Very highly talented pitcher coming out of Vanderbilt. They've had a lot of pitchers come out of that school. Dansby Swanson is a hitter that come out of that school. They're they're one of the best schools when it comes to producing MLB talent. His father is Al Leiter, who was a great pitcher. Pitched for the Mets for a long time. Also pitched for the Yankees. He had some up and downs in the minor leagues, but he's obviously got himself together. And he was just called up by Texas. He would make his MLB debut Thursday, about a little over 3 years after the draft. So it was like August. So he was a little over 3 years after he was drafted. He was making his Major League Baseball debut. All right, on to NBA playoffs predictions. So let's start on the Eastern Conference and with the plans. So tonight, it'll be Philly, Miami. I'm assuming after seeing before the game is starting. Philly and Miami. I'm going to take Philly. For a while, I was thinking maybe Miami. They're a team like, you saw Jimmy Butler on the podcast. He's seeming very confident. And just, yes, they were only the 8th seed for the second year in a row, but they were 18 last year, and they went to the finals. They had 46 wins. They're the 8th seed. Their team obviously just so much experience, a lot of veterans. Jimmy Butler is really good in the playoffs. But, playing the Sixers team, kind of collapsed a little bit after losing Embiid, but he's back. You have Maxey. I just don't think Philly's going to have an answer for Joel Embiid. I know he's not great in the playoffs. You know, he's not 100%. Every year it's the same thing. He gets, whether he gets hurt at the end of the season or he gets hurt in the playoffs, he gets nicked up and it affects his game a lot in the playoffs. I think the same thing will happen this year, but I don't think they go very far. I mean, they're a 7 seed for a reason. They're a 7 and not, a 3 seed like they were at one point this year for a reason, but I just think Miami's going to have no answer for him. Bam's a great defender. I think Embiid's going to overpower him. He'll make a couple threes. I think Philly's going to win this game. The Events play with New York next in the first round. Bulls and Hawks. I'm going to take Atlanta. I mean, both teams aren't any good. Bulls won 39 games. Hawks won 36. Hawks are extremely inconsistent. They'll go out there one night, look really good. Next time they'll go out there and look awful. They did develop some injuries, but Trae Young just recently got back. I think that'll help. The Bulls aren't very good. I think Atlanta beats Chicago. That knocked out the Bulls, and they'll play the Heat in the playing round. In the second playing game, and I think Miami's going to beat, I think they'll beat Atlanta. They're just more experienced. They're a better basketball team. Atlanta's atrocious defensively. Heat are the complete opposite. I think they'll squeak past Atlanta. Who did beat Miami in the 7-8 game last year? I think Miami gets them this year. And they will then play Boston in the first round. So then, your Eastern Conference, you have, actually, let's go to the Western Conference and do their play-in tournament. New Orleans Pelicans against the Lakers. I'm going to take the Lakers. Obviously, as you guys know, I am the complete opposite of a LeBron fan. And the whole year, they have not been great. They've gotten hot kind of at the right time, sort of. New Orleans against the Lakers. I'm going to take the Lakers. The Pelicans, they play themselves out of a playoff spot, like a 4 or 5, in that 4, 5, 6 range in the Western Conference. Or at least the 5 of the 6. They kind of played them out the last couple of games of the season. This is a team that every year goes in. You look at the squad, like, this team's got a chance to be one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the Western Conference. Maybe it could be in the Western Conference Finals, and every year something happens. They have injury, whatever, with Zion and other guys, and now you're healthy. Zion's been mostly healthy. You just got Brandon Ingram back. After a 12-game absence, everyone's healthy. And you're still a playing team. And so we're like, all right, maybe something's wrong. Maybe this team isn't all that. Maybe it's the coach. Maybe they need to move on from Willie Green. I don't know. But I think the Lakers are going to be a little bit too experienced. I think they'll get past the Pelicans, and we'll play Denver in the first round. Kings and the Warriors in the 9-10 matchup. Of course, Golden State played the Kings in the first round last year, and in a bit of an upset, the 6th seed beat them in 7 games. I'm going to take Sacramento to win this game. I think Sacramento is a good team. Look, they won 4 of 6 games. If they were in the Eastern Conference, they would be the 6th seed. They have a Sacramento as the Heat, who were the 8. I mean, not that big of a difference. I think they would have won a few more games. They were in the East, which isn't as good as the West. They're a very good team. They got a little taste last year. Also, Golden State I don't think it's as good as they were last year. I picked Sacramento to win last year in 6 games. I played Golden State for a reason. Klay Thompson isn't the same player. Draymond's the same. He's been suspended a zillion times this year. Obviously, you don't have Jordan Poole. Andrew Wiggins has been even worse than he was last year. Sacramento now for another year of experience under their belt. I think they get it done. I think they'll be Golden State. So that means in a 9-10 matchup, that will be New Orleans and Sacramento. I'm actually going to take the Kings. I think the Pelicans they're crumbling. I think the Kings are a very underrated team, so I will take Sacramento. And they'll play Oklahoma City in the first round. All right, let's go to the playoffs. Eastern Conference, Boston and Miami. Get your popcorn ready. Boston and Miami meet again. Of course, 2 years ago, they met in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Boston nicked them in an incredible 7-game series. And then last year, Miami had a miraculous run in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they went out 3-0 on Boston. People were like, what's going on? Then Boston wins the next 3 games, forced Game 7, but then Miami beats them in Game 7 to go to the finals, and they meet once again, this time in the first round. I think Boston wins this time. I mean, they're the best team in basketball for a reason. The team is loaded. Miami, look, they're an 8 seed for a reason. I think this will be a good series. Jimmy Butler is, especially in the early rounds of the playoffs, is almost unstoppable. He is phenomenal against the Boston Celtics. Whenever he plays Boston, he goes into him. He kicks into another gear. I got Boston beating them. I'll say it goes 6 games. I'll say it's a hard-fought series. I think Boston is just too good. Knicks and Sixers, I'm taking the Knicks. Embiid's on 100%. I know I said he'd get past Miami. I think the Knicks have a little more size than Miami, so they'll be able to contain Embiid a little bit more. He's not 100%. Like I said, every year when he gets nicked up, whether it's in the playoffs or right before the playoffs, and it really affects his game. Guy who was MVP caliber player in the regular season, of course, won the MVP last year, was a finalist the last couple of years. It's not been as efficient in the postseason. I think that might happen again because he's playing hurt. He obviously had that knee injury that cost him a long time. He just got back about a week ago, and I'll take the Knicks to win it in 6 games. Then the 3-6 is Milwaukee against Indiana. Keep in mind, Giannis is not playing. He's out game 1. Could miss the first couple of games. He's out. He might miss the first part of the series. I'm actually going to take Indiana in a big upset here. On paper, you think doesn't really make a lot of sense. Indiana is horrible defensively. How are they going to stop Giannis? How are they going to stop Damian Lillard? But I'm not sure if Milwaukee maybe think, all right, we're going to not play in game 1. If we win game 1, we'll hold them out till game 3 at least. If they lose game 1, they'll play him game 2. Or if he legitimately is just not going to be good enough to go to at least the 3rd or 4th game or something like that. I don't know. But this Milwaukee team, they are 2 games under 500 since Doc Rivers took over. They were 32 or 30-13 with Adrian Griffin. They fired him. They're bringing Doc Rivers for why I don't know. And I think they were 17-19 since Doc took over. In fact, he had Giannis and Damian Lillard plus other guys like Chris Middleton on this squad. And you couldn't win 50 basketball games? That's absurdly bad. And they completely choked with the 2 seeds well to the next as well. I think Indiana's a good team. Halliburton, who in the first half of the year was in the MVP conversation, kind of slowed down in the second half, but is obviously still a great player. Must take point guards in the game. That being said, I'm looking at also Damian Lillard. That being said, also, you got Pascal Siakam, you pick him up at the trade deadline. You got some other good players as well. Milwaukee should definitely win the series with no problem. I think not having Giannis possibly for the first couple of games is really going to hurt them. Because, that's going to hurt them a lot defensively. They've struggled defensively all year. Now not having Giannis is going to hurt them even more. Going up against guys like Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam and all these other guys they got. All these young guys, Benedict Mathurin, Aaron Nemhard, and Jarace Walker, Miles Turner. So I think Indiana could possibly jump out to a little lead in this series here. And then, it kind of be similar to like the first round against Miami last year. So Giannis gets hurt in game 1, so Miami's able to steal it. He doesn't play game 2. Miami takes that game as well. They're able to grab game 3 to get them back in the series, and then Giannis came back and it just messed up they had to make so many adjustments, and Coach Budenholzer just wasn't able to do it. And Giannis really didn't play all that great, honestly, in that series. His numbers look kind of inflated because he got to the line so much because he was fouled so much, because he's in the paint so much. But I think we'll see a similar feel. I'll say Indiana wins it. I'll say Indiana wins in 7. I think when Giannis comes back, it'll be kind of back and forth. And I'll say Indiana wins in 7 games, though. And an upset. I think Milwaukee is extremely fraudulent and extremely overrated. Cleveland against Orlando. This will be a really good series. This really could go either way. You have Cleveland won 48 games. They dealt with a lot of injuries this year, but they seem to be healthy right now. You have Orlando, who kind of came out of nowhere to be the 5 seed. About a week or two ago, they were competing for the 2 seed. Really good young team, of course, led by Paolo Banchero. I'm going to take Cleveland in 6 games. 2 young teams. Cleveland obviously got there last year. We thought, this should be a hard-fought 7-game series. A lot of people picked Cleveland to win. Of course, he lose to the Knicks in 5. Came out, kind of crapped the bed. I think they'll do a little better this year. I haven't loved him from down to mention in the playoffs. He hasn't been horrible, but he's been a little inconsistent at times. You saw it in the first round series against the Knicks. The first 2 games he was brilliant, and the last 3 he really struggled in. So I don't know, and they're a piece away for sure, so I don't think they're going on a deep run this year. That being said, I think they can pass Orlando because Orlando is just so young. And I like a lot what they have going for them. Paul Bunker is really good. Jamal Mosley's done a great job by team. He's probably a Coach of the Year finalist. But I'll take Cleveland in 6 games because they have another year under the they have a year under the other belt. I have a couple of guys with a little more experience in Orlando. I'll take Cleveland to muster through. On the Western Conference side, so Oklahoma City's playing Sacramento. I'll take Oklahoma City in 6 games. You know, the Kings, they're a piece, maybe even 2 away for sure. Thunder, obviously they're really young, but the Kings are as well. I guess the Kings got a little taste last year, but I think Thunder have the MVP of the league in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So, and then they're so deep too. They're the only team that can confidently run 10, go 10 deep in the postseason. Extremely deep. They're great on both sides of the ball. They're great defensively, and I think they're just I think they're overpowered the Sacramento Kings. I'll take them in 6 games. Denver Lakers. Of course, last year Denver swept the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. You had a lot of joying since the offseason between those 2 teams. And Denver's I think is gonna beat them in 5 games, honestly. I don't think it's that close. LeBron is not the same player. Still a really good player. But he's not the same. He's 38, 39 years old now. I think he's got other things on his mind with Bronny and, his player option. Where's Bronny going? That's where I'm going next year. He did not play well in that Denver series last year. He was great in Game 4. Had like 40, 10, and 9 in Game 4. The first 4 games, he was not good. He couldn't shoot the ball for his life. Anthony Davis last year against Denver, Game 1 was phenomenal. Games 2 through 4 was a ghost. And, just the rest of your support, I just don't think they have enough with D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. It just isn't enough. They're going to have no answer for Jokic. I know Anthony Davis is a great player and a great defender, but it's always getting nicked up. I think he's going to get overpowered by Jokic. Obviously they got Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and all. So I'm going to take Denver winning 5 games. I don't think it's that close. In the 3-6 game, it'll be the Minnesota Timberwolves against the Phoenix Suns. This should be a good series. I can see why people pick Phoenix. I'm going to take the T-Wolves in 7 games. Look, I think Minnesota is very fraudulent. I think they had going on a deep run. Obviously, the Suns got Kevin Durant. He's been just mostly healthy this year. Obviously, he's a phenomenal player. I think Devin Booker is a stud. He's very good in the playoffs. But they are horrible defensively. They're not very deep either. Minnesota, they're deeper. They're better defensively. I think Nurkic is going to have a hard time guarding Karl Anthony Towns. I think Devin Booker's going to have a hard time guarding Anthony Edwards, who's an absolute superstar, by the way. And then they got other guys like Mike Conley and Jay McDaniels and these other guys. Rudy Gobert is going to help. I think they got more size. They're better defensively. I'll take Minnesota in 7 games. That's actually a really good series, though. Clippers Mavericks. I'm taking Dallas. I'm actually taking them in 6 games. Look, I'm not a fan of Luka, but he had a phenomenal year. He's a phenomenal player. Definitely not a fan of Kyrie Irving, but he was able to stay healthy for the most part this year, at least after the All-Star break. He actually stayed out of trouble so far this year, which is a surprise. And you got some better size this year. Drafting Derek Lively. You made the move to get Daniel Gafford at the trade line. It's been a big pickup. Team is playing well at the right time. The Clippers, they don't scare me. That team is old. Harden is horrible in the playoffs. Russ is not good in the playoffs. Kawhi appearance, he's got a knee problem. Paul George, I'm sure it's got free agency on his mind. There's rumors he might be leaving after the season. He's been a little bit inconsistent in the playoffs. Of course, that 1 year, a whole playoff, I think he was horrible. He's been a little better, but still a little inconsistent, especially for a guy supposed to be a superstar and a perennial all-star. And I think Dallas is going to beat them and expose them as overrated and frauds. Dallas in 6 games. To the Eastern Conference side, so Boston's going to play Indiana. And I think they beat them in 5 games. Indiana's not good defensively. They're not going to have a single answer for Boston. Siakam might be able to match up against Porzingis, but I don't know how they're guarding Jason Tatum. I don't know how they're guarding Jaylen Brown. Obviously, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have not been great. They've been a little bit inconsistent in the playoffs. Obviously, Tatum's had his big games. Obviously, he had a 51 or 53-point game in Game 7 against Philly last year. He's had his big games, but in the really big moments, he has not been great. But I think they'll have enough. And Brown has been great in the playoffs, but I just think it's just such a lopsided matchup. I think could be similar to. I think worst case scenario for Boston, be similar to Philly. They won't really play well, but they're they have just more experience and just better. They'll just find a way to muscle through. But I think it won't be that close. Boston's better than they were last year. I think they'll be Indiana in the second round in 5 games. So the Knicks get the Cleveland Cavaliers. We went to the first round last year. I got in the Knicks in 6 games. Spider, he's been a little inconsistent in the playoffs. I think that will happen again. This should be a really hard-fought series. You got 2, pretty solid coaches. Tom did a phenomenal job here. I like Bickerstaff. I know he didn't do a great job in the playoffs last year, and there got people calling for his job. There was rumors he might get let go, then to bring him back. Overall, I think he did a good job holding them together. They had a lot of injuries. Spider, Evan Mobley missed a lot of time, and he was able to hold them together. I mean, a 4 seeds, you can say, all right, they could have a 2, and last couple of games, they kind of dropped to the 4. But I think the Knicks, they're better than they were last year. They're deeper, and they have another year of experience. So I'll take them in the Knicks in 6 games. In the Western Conference in the first round, in the second round, the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to play they're going to be playing the Dallas Mavericks. And I'm going to take the Thunder in 7 games. I've been telling people I think I'm taking Dallas. In the past, I was thinking, all right, Dallas might be going to the conference finals. But I'm actually going to take the Thunder in 7 games. Dallas is better defensively, but still aren't great. I'm not sure if they'll have much of an answer for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Thunder, again, they're really deep. I think they go to the conference finals. And then you got the Denver Nuggets are playing the Timberwolves. I think Denver wins in 6 games. I know Gobert could match up against Jokic. You remember that story that Jamal Murray told from a couple of years ago where Gobert was like waving up the help and Jokic said, "Brother, I have 47." So Gobert's an amazing defender, obviously, but I think Jokic will get the best of him. And I think Denver will just overpower them, and they win in 6 games. Eastern Conference Finals, the Boston Celtics against the New York Knicks. I'm going to be a little biased here, but I am taking the Knicks to go to the finals. Look, the Boston Celtics are stacked. They're loaded. They're winning it all. All their fans are saying. That being said, conference finals comes around, lights get a little bit too bright, and Tatum falls apart. Brown definitely falls apart. Those 2 guys in the Brown lights are not good enough because they don't play off each other. Things go wrong. Obviously, they have Drew Holiday this year, which he can shoot the ball a little bit. Phenomenal defender. They've extended him. They have Porzingis this year, who kills them every single time he sees them. It's probably unlikely, but yes, if Tatum and Brown don't show up, you still have Drew and Porzingis, but if Tatum and Brown aren't showing up, there's only so much, these other guys, Porzingis and Derek White and Drew Howard, they can do. So I'll say Boston doesn't show up, and then the Knicks beat them. I mean, with OG in the lineup, they've only lost like twice, or 3 or 4 times. I think this team is better than people think. I think they go to the finals, beat the Celtics in 7 games. Western Conference Finals. Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets. I'm taking Denver in 6 games. I think Jokic is going to just completely overpower Chet Holmgren. He's just bigger and stronger. And I think Denver, they're more experienced. I think they'll kind of like a respect your elders kind of thing. Nuggets go to the finals. In the NBA Finals, Nuggets and the Knicks. I was going to say the Knicks are not going to be the Nuggets in the finals. That's just not going to happen. Denver over the Knicks, I think might be in 5 games. Hartenstein is a great defender, great rim protector, but I think Jokic is going to win that battle. I don't think even the Knicks are going to have, OG's probably going to be on Porter. So who's the answer? I don't even think they'll be able to stop Jamal Murray. I think they'll just overpower Denver in 5. And Denver Nuggets win their 2nd straight NBA championship. All right? That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.